Welcome to Mercedes in the Chap, a show dedicated to helping humans become extraordinary. Here we'll hone a well-rounded roadmap for us to step into our potential in all things relationships, work, purpose, and legacy. Chap, we had one of your buddies on today.
We did have one of my buddies. I've known her for quite a good bit of time. Maggie is a highly intelligent, very beautiful, wonderful Latina from Mexico City. She lives in the United States now, but she deals with the daily issues of a corporate HR department. She is an HR. The things she's dealt with, the things she's seen, but for our friends at home, it's really more like in this world, it's very scary, I think, to be in corporate America, certainly today. And it's kind of like she gives some insights and opinions on how one might land in HR and how one might avoid HR from maybe flirting or trying to get a phone number or something like that.
Yeah, basically how to stay out of the creepy creedler in the corner zone of your workplace and not become the Harry the harasser. So I think she gives us some very critical information, especially if you work in a corporate setting, but even if you are just wanting to apply it to your everyday life, because I think it works through and through, whether in the workplace or not. So let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Maggie, it is so lovely to have you sitting across from me right now. You are just stunning. So thank you for bringing your beauty today, first and foremost.
You.
And you work in HR, so I think this is going to be a very interesting conversation. Specifically, I want to kick it off regarding how to avoid being, Harry the harasser at work. So maybe you can walk me through how I would navigate, if I'm a guy especially, because I feel like this is probably more, they probably have more of the issue coming off as Harry the harasser in a corporate setting. How would I navigate dating life in the office or trying to get a date with someone who I might be attracted to in the office?
That's a very interesting question. First of all, you have to make sure that the person that you're interested is available, right?
Sure.
There's a lot of people out there that are engaged, they're married, so you don't want to jump into that to try to break a marriage, because that wouldn't be fun, right? So first of all, just to make sure that the person that you like is available. Second of all, that the person that you're attracted has the same sexual preference that you have, because you never know.
Sure.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
Really? So this is interesting, because I got to know what you're sitting on the side of HR and you're taking the reports or whatever it is. I don't know, someone reports an issue, right? So what is that? Maybe just give me, first of all, what you have seen come over your desk. What does that look like when someone says, hey, I'm having an issue?
But before you answer that, because you have such a sexy voice, we would like our director to step in and adjust your mic, because we really want to hear you. There we go.
Bobby just wants to get close to her.
I know.
All right.
I don't blame you.
Enough of that, Bobby.
Anyway, so sorry, Mercedes. I mean, can you go ahead?
Yeah, I just wanted to know Maggie's experience of what a report looks like when it comes across the desk of someone who's feels like they're being maybe approached in the wrong way. Maybe they're like, I'm not even straight, and this dude is approaching me.
It's funny. It's hilarious. Because, it just depends always how they approach it, because you have to be smart about it, right? Like, you're just not going to walk up to somebody you feel attracted to and be, oh, hi, you have a really nice ass. Nice to meet you. You just cannot do that.
Yeah, don't do that in any setting.
But they do.
Right.
Oh, they do?
They do.
Oh, geez. So that's a good way to end up in HR, right? And have to deal with the fallout, either legal, maybe lose your job or something like that. Have you seen in your experience there? Because I think when Mercedes says, I really want to get into this, with these scenarios, because I'm sure she's seen all of them. Have you, in your experience with HR, has the incident of, or the frequency of the sexual harassment, or not necessarily harassment, but these, maybe females coming to you that are, say, straight, and the man is looking for the female, and these females come to you and they say something like, hey, John, I'm making up a name, John on the third floor, I just don't feel comfortable. I mean, have you seen a frequency of these reports rising over the years?
Yes, but not as much as we used to before. So now we're launching all these programs. There are videos about sexual harassment so we can educate our people.
So people have gotten better, more receptive about not being creepy.
Right. Yes, that's an issue that we address when we first hire them.
I see. So when they're in the hiring process,
in the hiring process, yes.
Here's your ID.
Onboarding, when we're onboarding them.
Okay.
So they should know better.
They should.
But somehow, some of that information must slip through the cracks.
They don't care.
And you end up with these issues.
And how we address it, if a woman, let's talk about a woman, if they come to me and be like, hey, you know what, John is the third floor, he hasn't said anything yet, but he looks at me very good, like he's undressing me with his look, and I really feel comfortable about that.
So how do you deal with that? What do you do as an HR? And we don't have to be real specific because it's being general because we don't want to But how would you deal with a scenario like that? This young lady comes to you. I'd say attractive young lady, and she's like, John keeps undressing me with his eyes, and he's not saying he's being very seductive. How would you deal with a scenario like that?
I go and talk to John.
You do? Okay, so you'll go
I
down.
know a lot of companies they don't do that until they see it, and they just let it. Like a lot of companies just let it because it's a lot of involved, right? You have to involve legal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then John gets into the office with you and he's like, forget about Becky down in accounting. How you doing?
How you doing? Well, no, I mean, it's funny.
I'm doing great. You're not. You're fired. Bye.
So how does that conversation go?
Like,
yeah.
How does that conversation go?
Like somebody wants to try to hit
No,
on me?
we'll get to that
We're
later.
going to get to that later.
Oh, okay.
But how does it go when you get John? I don't know if you take him, hey, John, come to the office. Or
hey,
whatever
John, how you doing? Good. It's brought to my attention that you've made some ladies uncomfortable by the way you have approached to them, just by looking at them. I would like to hear your version of the story. Is this happening? Are you interested in whomever? Or, because somebody can come to you, but that doesn't mean that it's true. So you always want to hear both sides of the story.
Of course.
Because you don't know if there's like a story behind that. Probably they dated before. Probably she's into him and he didn't pay attention to her, so she's just trying to create a gossip. So you cannot accuse anybody until you know that for a fact, right? So I go and I talk to John. I'm like, and then John will tell me like, you know what, she's very pretty and I cannot hold it. Then okay, then you address it that way.
And what would you say in that scenario to John? Because we've known each other for a while. You're extremely intelligent, very attractive female. How would you tell John something like, I get it, John, but instead of just don't do it anymore. Do you give any other advice like, hey man, I get it, but
right.
Okay.
I will not say don't do it like that.
Mm-hmm.
No. But you say like, oh, you know what? I get you. Like, Melissa is very attractive. I'm with you on that. However, the way that you're looking at her is making him feel uncomfortable.
And he might he might actually not be the only one.
Right.
Right.
We had a lot of situations like very creepy people like masturbating in the rooms.
Oh, wow.
What do you mean?
Rooms
like
in the bathroom.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
And
That were
so
employees?
other people in the stall, like basically other guys are reporting them in that situation?
Yeah. And then in that situation, we don't write them up, we fire them.
Oh.
Because
how do
that's
we
something
prove
that
they were masturbating in the stall?
Somebody see them, or this is very interesting. When they do it and it's in the toilet and they flush it,
Oh, no.
for some reason, I don't know what maintenance issues cause like a lot of semen. I'm not kidding. Yeah,
Oh my
I'm not
God.
kidding.
So there's
This
something.
escalated.
So maintenance had to come to us and be like, hey, listen, we had once in a different property that not in my current job that I'm working, we had to put like a sign that please.
Don't masturbate into this toilet.
Right.
So this is what's the code in janitorial services for this?
I don't want to find out. That's the code. So what, that's a whole nother problem, clearly,
Right.
But what, you're okay. So that's definitely a don't do that. Okay. And that's
Right.
pretty, it sounds easy and we just don't do that. But as far as, some of these things that are a little more, how do I say,
Yeah,
if a guy's going to go pick up
you're walking like just a super fine line between
yeah, you
like,
really are.
I'm trying to flirt, but I want to see if it's going to go, if it's going to go somewhere, and I don't want to push the envelope too far, because that's who I'm hoping. Now, you may not have faith in men after having the job you've had for as long as you've had it. Okay, good.
Surprisingly.
I do.
But I'm hoping, with the faith I still hold in men, that most of our audience is, if they're in a situation at work or even just in life in general, figuring out that like delicate dance of being overt enough where she understands you're into her, but not so overt that you end up in HR talking to you.
Right. I think you have to be very smart about it, right? Like, you go talk to the girl about work if you want first, just to get to know her. Then you can ask her for lunch. Hey, like, why don't we go to the cafeteria and have lunch?
Oh, so you have a work cafeteria. That's a great place because it's pretty safe, right?
Right. It's very safe and everybody's around.
Yeah.
So people can see.
That
right?
is a great point.
So that's good.
You do have a tool at your disposal as a guy. You have this work cafeteria that it's not that creepy because hey, we're safe. There's friends over there. Hey, John. Hey, Bill. How's it going?
And this is kind of a trend too, just in talking to dating coaches on the show, and make the atmosphere a safe one in order to explore whether this could be potentially a romantic interest.
Like, I always said, like, just talk smart and make her laugh. That's it. You're at work. Talk something smart about work. Probably that person is not in your same department. Just talk about something. What do you do? You're in legal. Oh, well, I'm in revenue. Right? Okay. Like,
just sound interested. Now, as far as, that's, and now, as far as that goes though, but do you ever have scenarios where, not talking about sexual harassment, just the awkwardness of a higher up, like, if I am management, okay, because I'm a little older and I'm management, and there's let's say it's you, and you're in accounting on the 3rd floor, and I'm like, God, I really want to talk to her, but unfortunately, I'm kind of like a higher up there. Should I just not even attempt anything? Like, even though we've, maybe passed each other in the halls, had some quick conversations, and I'm like, oh, I think she might actually potentially maybe like me. Is it even worth pursuing, or is it just no because you have a very senior position?
I think it's worth trying. Why not?
Okay, so you're not.
Absolutely, you can.
Okay. Well, the why not in my mind would be because there's this power dynamic that it could be. Right? You're saying
but I guess you're not seeing, are those people not ending up in HR as long as they're doing it correctly?
No, they will.
Oh, they will?
Absolutely, they will. But we go back to, there are steps that you need to follow, right?
Right.
Like, find that person that if she's available, if she's interested in you as well, then why not?
Well, I guess what I'm wondering, go ahead.
But
sorry.
the thing here is, like, what are you trying to accomplish? Is that person going to accomplish? Is that what she's trying to accomplish as well? Are you in a serious relationship, or just looking for a one-night stand?
Oh, so
what are you looking for?
Well,
needs to match the other person. If not, you absolutely going to end up not only in HR, you're going to end up with a broken heart.
Well, okay, I see what you're saying, because you're basically, it's like it takes two. And you really, and you need to have your dating or your dating mojo properly tuned anyway. But as far as the actual like corporate standpoint, like the legal EHR that you're in, so I guess what I'm hearing is, as long as you're not just being creepy and doing like these things in the bathroom, or like smacking people's butts or something like that's overt, or really undressing them with your eyes, as long as you're being a normal human, it sounds like what you're saying is it's totally okay to attempt to get someone's phone number or have lunch with them, or like is that okay generally at your company?
You can do it. It's not something that I would recommend.
Okay.
You can do it.
Because it's too quick and easy to end up in HR.
That, and because you don't want to make also your teamwork around you uncomfortable. Right. You spend a lot of time at work with a lot of people.
Right.
So you don't want to be, you have to play it very smart. Like, you don't want to be all kissy and grabbing hands and then make your coworker feel uncomfortable about it.
Right.
Like, there are procedures and protocols that cannot be broken. So yes, you can talk to this person. You can ask her going to lunch. You can do that. However, you have to behave. You're at work.
Right.
you're not at the park.
Well, just be a decent human is what you're saying.
Yes.
Be a decent human. And it is it is harder to navigate that. And you were just basically saying it's probably a safer bet as a guy just not to worry about that unless you meet this person completely out of work or something like that, not that is not part of the work environment. Like if it's just, of course, I think it's just definitely easier if John meets Sally and, they just meet in the park and they don't work together. That's much easier because know it's not this power dynamic or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But when people on board that you're seeing now, you're telling them basically, look, these are some ways that you can end up in HR. Don't do these things. Right. And like you were saying, I am backtracking a little bit. For the most part, these people get it, right?
Yes.
What are have you experienced? And have you experienced kind of like where there's a scenario where the woman is kind of maybe, and I hope this doesn't happen too much if at all, but they're trapping the guy into a scenario where you discover, wait a second. Can you just give us some general scenarios on that?
Yeah, it happens. There were like this very attractive gentleman at work, and oh my God, ladies are worse than men. Oh, wow. Oh my God. They don't care.
So what you're seeing there, they don't care. Okay.
They don't care. They're stalkers. They're like,
really?
Oh my goodness.
Give us some hands-on examples here. What have you seen?
We had like this very attractive gentleman. He was working with us. He had to quit.
Really?
He had to quit.
What was it? And don't be too specific because we don't get anybody in trouble. But what was like a general kind of what was happening overall?
He was getting to his desk and he was getting like chocolates. Or people were like, oh, hi, good morning. I see you here. You want to go to lunch? Oh, hi. What are you doing?
Very aggressive.
Guy was like, who are you? Like, hi. Very pushy. Or if
so the guy quit.
He had to quit.
Was there more going on than that, I take it?
Were a lot of ladies after him. And then the ladies were like fighting over him.
Oh, God.
Oh, wow.
So it's like chasing Poppy or something.
So did he come, was he in your office at some point? How did this story come across your desk?
Yeah, no. He was in my office and he had to quit. Exit interview.
What did he say?
Why are you leaving?
Yeah.
He's like, I cannot take it anymore. Like, it's harassment at the end of the day.
Yeah.
What can I do? I'm not going to fight. I could write up all these ladies.
Right.
Right. But he was uncomfortable.
He kind of solved the problem for you, though.
Yeah.
He did. It's not always just what you say or do. It's just with one look. Sometimes that can make people feel very, very uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And that's the way, I mean, when that comes to HR, there's not a lot that we can say about that. Like, oh, you look at this person that way. I cannot fire you because of that. Mm.
That is interesting.
So it is very interesting.
Well, let's take those steps, right? Okay, so we'll use, this, let's say me and you, okay? I look at you really creepy. There's nothing you can really do about it, but then what would be the next thing? Like, I say something to you that's a little perverted or rude that you're uncomfortable with. At what point, if you're a guy, right? Because most of these audiences are a guy. What point have you we're not suggesting go out there and look at her really weird because there's nothing HR can do about it because that's just bad and creepy. But at what point is there something where it's like, guys, just don't do that because you will end up in HR in front of legal and possibly fired? Like clearly we know grabbing people without their, obviously, right. But is it, I know it's, and that's why I feel like this is a complicated question. I feel like I kind of set you up a little bit and I apologize, but it's like, that's why we have humans in HR. I guess they have to investigate it. There's no maybe real hard and fast rule. You have to figure it out as you go. But if you had, these guys that are, that are tuning in, that are in, a lot of these guys are in these corporate environments. I know I've been in a similar environment myself. It was kind of corporate and we had an HR department, but what, if you, I guess what I'm trying to figure, if there's that girl in accounting or Maggie is, can I just walk up to you, right? And you're going down the hallway. I'm like, hey, Maggie. Yes. I don't know you. Hey, I'm John. Can I get your number? I mean, I know that I don't mean from like that's just a bad tactic because it is, I guess. But like, is that going to end you in HR? No, it's not. Obviously, if I come up and like smack you on the butt, that's going to end me in HR. It'll get me
Yes.
fired, and I'll probably have you in a
Sure.
lawsuit. Right.
Right.
So clearly, I think that's the thing we really understand.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, these are seem like obvious human boundaries. Obviously, we don't want to cross, whether at work or in the bar.
But what's very refreshing to hear this, though, is that it sounds like what you're saying is that generally speaking, okay, we're always being general about this, but it sounds like what you're saying is that as long as you're following like the general rules of being a respectable man in dating or attempting to date, you're going to be okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then if you do end up in HR, there is someone like you investigating it. They're going to get your story, or in this case, you will get their story. And most of the time, you're going to figure out, you didn't do anything wrong. Right. That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
There'll be a fair and reasonable,
Absolutely.
unbiased research that happens, and then from there, you guys decide what to do, which is great that we have those programs available. I'm wondering if there are other HR pitfalls that people kind of just aren't even aware of until you kind of let them know, because that's your work.
Because we do feel, exactly, because we do feel bad for the people that don't intend on doing anything wrong, don't know they do anything wrong, and then all of a sudden they're like, why am I sitting here?
Do they?
Yeah, I don't know. I was around, and no, apparently not. So
They know.
What you were saying, what are some
They
other
know,
ways to
right?
get in
I
there?
know.
So when
Okay.
someone's in the
Absolutely.
office, you can already kind of tell their level of guilt.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they know what they're doing.
And you know what they're
Because-
doing.
Because they're at work. They're not in a bar.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So do you, because you really do investigate this stuff.
Of course.
So it's not like there's no innocent, I didn't really.
And it's not only that I hear from her and from him. I look. I just
Well, you're
Kinda
talking to
sit
other
down
people.
in the back and just watch
Oh,
when
so
nobody's watching.
Right.
wow. So you're like a
little
corporate spy.
eye in
I'm
the
a
sky.
spy.
Yeah.
Corporate spy. Very disarming, by the way. If you were a corporate spy, I would not be thinking you're a corporate spy. But maybe that's why agencies around the world use very intelligent and attractive ladies. So are you a spy right now?
Or
Next question.
next question. Good
Oh
answer.
my God. Let's I wanted to ask you, I wanted to kind of transition a little bit because this is really good. But as always, we sit here and we have a guest come on and we think we're going to go this certain direction, and we start realizing like this person's there's something else we want to talk to them about. And you're I'm going to just say this for the people that are listening and not watching. Hopefully you're watching. There's two very attractive ladies and a very, very attractive man sitting here.
Very.
And thank you. I know why you came up for a reason. So you're okay. So I'm going to state the obvious. Very attractive lady, very exotic, Latina, Mexican, from where? Mexico City, correct?
Mexico City. I was born in Mexico City. I moved to Canada when I was 14 years old.
Oh, right.
Then I moved back to Mexico City. Then I lived in France, lived in Paris for so many years.
And you were doing what there?
I was studying culinary school.
Oh, yeah, very nice. Okay, so you are the catch. Okay, so let's just get that out of the way. You're a high catch, very attractive, very exotic, very, very intelligent. What are some of the ways that, or I should say, what do you look for? Okay, in a romantic partner, and what do you? Is there certain things you're looking for?
Yeah, I'm looking for a brain.
Good. Okay.
I'm looking for a brain 110%.
So that's priority one is the brain.
I love Maggie's
110%.
demeanor because it's just like
Like, dude.
duh.
I looking for somebody smart, somebody that has the same goals, values, ethic that I have. That's very important for me. Sense of humor, absolutely.
How can you determine that? Like when you meet a guy and he, approaches you, or you go on your first date or something like that with someone, and what are the red flags you're looking for? Like, no, that's not cut. Like, I feel like you're the type of chick who's like,
I'm not putting
in
up
the
with your
middle
BS.
of the, yeah, like literally in the middle, mid-sentence, he'll be talking and he like says something, and you're just like, I gotta go.
Yeah. I'll be like, yeah, this is not going to work out, buddy. Thank you, though. I appreciate your time. This is not going to work.
It's very dangerous when you decide to date someone who, for a living, cuts through people's bullshit, I think.
Right.
Well said.
It's hard. It's hard to date sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Absolutely. Yes, because it's very easy to see those flags that you're talking about and be like, nah, that just no. And a lot of men as well get intimidated, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, no, corporate, HR.
Or just seeing a very attractive woman. I think Mercedes had talked
well.
to that in the past, is that being very attractive can be a deterrent to.
It's a deterrent just because it's like that idea of, how can I, it's a jealousy, it says, am I going to get in this relationship and I'm gonna have to worry about other men? Am I going to get in this relationship and I'm going to worry that, there's always, I'm never enough. I think that's what the mentality is for a lot of men.
Right.
But probably, and I would assume you will agree with this, that mentality going in is already the lack of strength that you're looking for in a man. Like, you're looking for a strong dude who's already kind of got his self figured out.
Yeah. I'm looking for a confident man that luckily I found.
Yeah, right. And so what, very, very good. What, as far as the brain part goes, and when you say brain, a lot of us think, well-studied or got a great job or something like that. But I think, because we spoke about this before, but the whole picture as far as their brain works, like they care about the world or certainly you, something like that. But, you come into, let me ask you this, where have you met in the past, let's talk about the past, where have you met the people that turn out to be a decent relationship at I'm just making this up, a bar, a sporting event, where could somebody meet someone like you? Like, where would we go to meet Maggie?
It's funny. I met my significant other at work.
At work, really?
Yes.
That is hilarious.
Now thinking about it, I met him at work.
Oh, geez.
So how did that approach happen?
Yeah, how'd that go down?
That's funny. I was at work, and I used before, like long time ago, not right now, not in the company that I'm in right now. I was working in a hotel.
Okay.
And I saw him, and I thought he was a guest already, or, we have like these protocols at hotels just to welcome everybody. Like, oh, hi, welcome. So I saw him. I was like, oh, well, welcome back. And he was like, welcome back. No, I'm actually checking in. You must be confusing me with a very attractive gentleman. I'm like, ugh, he's annoying. I was like, ugh. And
I don't know anybody who just said that 3 seconds ago.
Right?
Never mind. I'm gonna crawl under the desk.
That's funny.
So then what? I know this story, but go ahead.
Yeah, you do. And I've always had this rule that it's no dating at work, because if it doesn't turn out good or anything, you're gonna be stuck with that person. So you don't want to do that.
Okay, that's very, very important.
So,
very important. Because you're gonna have to deal with this.
Yes.
Right.
And as I mentioned before, it's not only you, the people around you. So then you make an environment very toxic. Mm-hmm. And I cannot fire you for that.
Right. Just being an idiot. So, okay, so you're at this hotel, okay, and you said, welcome in.
Welcome back. And then he was like, no, I'm checking in. He must be confused me with a very attractive gentleman. I'm like, okay. And then we started talking.
Just like that.
It just...
So it was the charm? It was more like the fun charm, the fun.
I like the idea, the fact that this was like in a situation where her job was to be open and welcoming, which I think especially for attractive women like you, Maggie, it's a kind of, you have to have a wall up because there's otherwise too much attention, and you're kind of like, most of the time, you're not even interested in the approach. Doesn't matter who the guy is for the most part. You already just have the wall up because it's like it's ingrained. Like it's
a habit. You don't. It doesn't matter. You don't really care about them. You're just like, welcome back.
Well, no. I'm saying just if you're out in the world, you're normally
got it.
I ain't trying to talk to anybody because I'm gonna get too much attention if I open myself.
I don't have that problem, so I can't
approachable.
identify. But that's fine.
So in this situation, you're literally being paid to be approachable, and so you get approached because you're like welcome, and you have this icebreaker, this interjection that's very welcoming. then he was able to have some banter with you, and it grows from there.
Yeah, and then it got from there, right? But now that you mention it, like, yes, I have to talk to people, but at the same time, we have, like, as HR, as a woman as well, we have to learn how to say no without being respectful to the other person, right?
Yeah.
So not because us as a woman feel like a man approaches wrong means that give us the right to answer them or shut them down, like in a rude way. So I think we can always let them know that we're not interested in a classy and educated way.
In a kind, and just
and
be kind.
And if you do it that way, you will not end up in HR.
So what does that look like? Like, hey Maggie, I was wondering if you wanted to, go get some dinner with me after work.
Oh, you know what? That's super sweet. Thank you so much for asking. However, I'm not interested. I'm kidding. I will not say that. I will say, like, you know what? Thank you. Thank you so much for asking. I'm currently unavailable. I'm dating. I don't think my boyfriend will appreciate that.
And that's a good message, because if you're a guy, if you're a guy and you're a conscious person and you hear that, okay.
It's pretty clear.
Like, okay.
It's pretty clear.
She has a boyfriend.
Something I like to bring up too, just in that moment where someone's approaching, because it takes so much energy and bravery and vulnerability for anyone, man or woman, to approach someone that they're interested in and like put themselves out there. And when they do, I like to address that. Like, hey, I really appreciate you taking the energy and the bravery it takes to come up and do this. And I don't want this to, knock you off your saddle, but I'm not available, or, that wouldn't work out for me, but well done. Like if it was a good approach, like, but you know what? I think the way that you approached me would really work well. So I'm just not the right girl for it. Or something where, where you're just not completely dejected and it becomes a scene,
Yeah. And now if that guy is still going and going and going and going, once she told him no, then is when we come, and then it's like, listen, she said no already. So now it's a problem.
Yeah,
now you're not listening. Yeah.
It's like maybe you should call your mom and ask her.
Right. And I wanted to ask if there are certain, there's so many stereotypes out there, and largely for a reason a lot of the time. And I don't want to box anyone in, but I was wondering if you kind of see any patterns as far as maybe specific cultural backgrounds, whether it be race, religion, the different people coming from different backgrounds that you see get in trouble with you guys at HR over and over. Like, I don't know if it's someone of Latin descent, for instance, because that machismo comes out, I just know from personal experience being Mexican myself, where it's maybe more overt than some might have going on in their, what feels good to them in their culture. Do you see any specifics come out as a pattern?
Not really.
Well, that's
across the board.
That's a very good question, but no, not really.
So do you notice like any kind of through line for the humans that you interact with that are getting reported to you, kind of an indicator, maybe like something where you're like, all these people seem to have X going on in their background. Like maybe it's a breakup recently, or they have some some trauma that they bring to the table and tell you about that caused them to be.
The people that get more in trouble, the younger people.
Younger.
Oh.
So it's a maturity thing.
Yes.
And that's so
people.
good. That's so interesting, because we've talked about this. Mercedes is like a real standard bearer for that. It's like, guys, you got to really start maturing. And a lot of our guests we've had on have spoken to that.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. It's definitely something that comes up over and over again. And Maggie, did you have something to add to that?
Yeah, I think it comes along with the emotional intelligence.
Absolutely.
For sure. So the people that lack of that is the people that get in trouble.
And what does that mean to you? Like, emotional intelligence is kind of a foreign term, I think, to a lot of people.
Right. What I'm talking about this is like, if I like a woman that much, I have to be intelligent about that. So not because my emotions are telling me that I need to go and talk to her. I'm going to do it with the rush that I'm feeling of the eager of talk to her. So I have to be intelligent about how I approach my emotions toward that person that I'm attracted to.
And that takes us slowing down, being considerate, mindful of what's actually reasonable in this work setting, especially in how to approach this person.
Yep, and that happens a lot with younger people. Younger people, they think work is a happy hour.
Yeah. They feel,
Absolutely.
they see a girl, they feel the crotch in their pants get tight, and they're like, I gotta go talk to this chick.
Yeah.
See, throw some lines at her, and then here we end up in HR again. It's like, are you drinking on the job? What?
We do drink in the job. No, we do.
Oh boy. Well, this is really good. This is really good because we're hearing it from somebody who's extremely attractive, very intelligent in HR. So there's like kind of like no better person to really like bounce these thoughts and ideas off. And you've definitely reinforced some thoughts that we've had and guests that have come on and have spoken to this, but then also have kind of like some interesting, side things about that as well. So Maggie, amazing.
Chris.
That's right. So Mercedes, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, I think it was very insightful to get some of those nuggets from you of like, I mean, I don't work in a corporate setting, and even when people don't necessarily work in a corporate setting, I think there's a lot of tie-ins to real, to the rest of life outside of work, that the same principles really are through and through, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you're meeting someone at the bar or at work, you should probably take into consideration that no one wants to be objectified overtly,
Right.
And that we as humans want to be respected and treated just like you might want to be treated if you're going to approach. So it seems so simple, but obviously people like you have a job because it isn't that simple for everybody. So I appreciate your work, keeping these people in line. Yes. And thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing it with us.
Thank you for having me here.
Of course.
Thank you so much.
And thank you guys so much for being with us here today. If you'd like to be a part of our community, please subscribe and comment and connect with us through the links below. We have a show every week, so catch us again next week. Bye for now.